All right, that's that. Yeah, I gotta get a really long playlist for streams like this. The question is, what should it be? Let me see. Hello. Is anybody out there? All right, all right, I'm connected. That's a good sign. Stream health is good. Nothing's on fire. Hey, people, what's up? Howdy. Give me 1 second while I just quickly set up. I need to create a to-do list of things to set up for the stream so that I have something I can just do every single time and not have to think about it. Can I just pop this open? Whoa, that's loud, eh? Wait a second, let me just... How is that? Is that too loud? I don't want it to be too invasive. I want some static background music. Is this music also just too ham? This music might be too ham. This is what you play if you're last couple turns of a super intense finals. Maybe this is a little bit better. Ooh, I like that. Whoa, hey, from the UK, what's up? Howdy. Alfonso, I was reading your comment this morning, man. On the restricted predictions video. What's up? Unless somebody just uses your avatar, your image, because I just know you guys from the images. Hey Ray, howdy. Dio has beans? No, not beans. What's going on from the UK? What's up from Japan? What's going on, folks? Help me out for just a second here. Is this music too loud? Is it? Again, I just want something in the background while we rap. Yo, Chile. Good lord, Malta. Oh, Malta brings back memories. My first crush was a girl from Malta. I don't know how she wound up in South Carolina, but yeah. Music's fine. I can't even hear it. Music's fine. Turn your headphones up, man. Come on. Dawn of the third day because of the bandless. Yo. Damn, Scotland too. What's up, Europe gang? Awesome. All right, let me put the music in the background. Set this to repeat forever. Would be good. This is actually from a Digimon game. It's called Piercing Digital Sea Breeze. I think it's from. Oh god. Oh god, what's the game? Yo, Melee gang, Singapore. What's up, folks? I got folks from all over, huh? Oh, what's this game? Oh my god, I'm blanking. It's the one that got re-released on the Switch, not Cyber Sleuth. It's not Next World Order. That's right. Thank you so much. Yeah, you got it. But yeah, so what I want to do today is, let me see, is my camera tuned in well enough? Whoa, just a smidge, yeah. So what I want to do today is, normally I would do the meta reports today. That would usually come out around actually this time. But for a couple of reasons, mostly because I just wasn't here at all this weekend, so I could not prep. Prep is at 0%. I didn't have the time to do all the prep work over the weekend, so I actually did that earlier today. and instead of having an actual like put together edited video, we'll do something a little bit off the cuff, which is what this is. And then after that, I'll take some of you guys' questions. So I also have a couple questions for you folks too. So maybe you guys can help me out. I'm thinking of like projects I can do for like the upcoming future or like the near future for Digimon, and maybe card games as a whole. We'll see. But I'd like to get like some folks' input, and so maybe you guys can help me. And we can have that nice little trade. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Yeah. Hey, the folks who just got in. Yep. Also, if anybody, this is like completely like left field, completely not related to anything I've talked about before. If anybody here knows how to set up YouTube chat in OBS, not Streamlabs OBS, but raw OBS, please hop in my Discord to help me out a little bit later. I was trying for like the past 45 minutes or so to do it. I set up like an unlisted stream and I was like testing stuff out, but I could not get like Streamlabs alerts or Streamlab, basically any overlay to work at all. So yeah, again, if anybody knows, please do me a favor and just hop into my Discord. I think that there is a link to the Discord somewhere down below. But please hop in there, and then after you do the stream, I might hit you up because I am out of ideas. I don't know how. Like if I have a Twitch stream, I can have like the chat and like alerts pop up all over the screen, but here I don't know how to do that. So yeah. Should I add 4 Blastmon to my Greymon starter deck? Do you like Blast? If you like Blastmon, then yes. I'm always gonna err on the side of do what's fun, right? Because if you're not having fun, then what's the point? Let me see here. Let me see. So I guess the first thing I'll do is talk a little bit about the week 2 meta report. So week 1, you guys probably saw last week, of course, on the channel, and it's no surprise at all that Apocalypse is kind of going gangbusters. So my cap is usually like for a really good deck, the cap is kind of like at 10 wins for the week. Apocalypse had 18, and the next closest one was Garurumon, which was like 12, so about like a 30% increase between Dex 1 and Dex 2. Yeah, hold on to those questions until after I finish up the meta report stuff. I'll definitely get to them though. Just hold on to them for now. But this week, oh boy, I was pretty surprised taking a look at some of these results earlier today because there's a reason that the screenshot was the 4 Horsemen, because it definitely feels that way. And I guess tomorrow the apocalypse may or may not happen. Who knows? Let me just pull this up really quickly, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Here, desktop. I thought I had this all set up before, but it's fine. All right, pull that up and do that. Full screen. Hey. Yeah. Some of you guys in chat kind of know what's coming. But so here's the actual list for this week, and it's incredible. It's incredible. So say hello to the 4 Horsemen of Purple. And it's just so funny that Apocalypse is up here. Now it feels like the 3 Horsemen plus Apocalypse. Apocalypse over 20 wins last week. And there were like a total of, I think, 95 events that I could pull data from. And number 1 is Apocalypse with a huge margin. And then like I think like 10 wins behind him is Garurumon, Anubismon, and Fener-Loogamon, all 3 of these guys. Garurumon can be built in a lot of different ways. I basically made it so that if the deck had basically like the lower end Garurumon cards, and then the upper end was just like some purple or blue version of Metal Garurumon, I counted it all as the Garurumon deck. There are like other Garurumon cards or other Garurumon-ish decks, like for example, Ulforce Vidramon right now is using Garurumon on the lower end, and then just going into Ulforce for the level 6. And because you can cycle so quickly with the Garurumon engine, you can just grab your Arena Tamers through your deck, and then once you get your level 6, you just like keep swinging. And because of the Bukamon card that I talked about in the restricted list video, he doesn't have to worry about whatever he checks into unless it's like some crazy security option like Gaia Force or, you know, Chaos Degrader, right? Next up is Anubismon, and I feel a little bit bad. I feel like I'm I feel like I may have misled people. Apocalypse and Garurumon are really strong. And if you only touch those two in the restricted list update, Anubismon is going to run over everything. In fact, after I took a look at the actual video that I made and the cards that I decided on, I realized that even with all those, I think Anubismon still just beats every deck's ass. Like, pretty handedly. So I don't really know what to touch for Anubismon. People in the comments, I think, were talking about just hit Ignitemon. The problem is, Mervamon can use any Digicross Digimon. So if you don't have Ignitemon, you can actually just use another Mervamon. And, I mean, you do miss out on, like, gaining one memory, but you can typically make up for that with all the other ways to gain memory when Anubismon drops. So, I don't know if even Ignitemon is the problem. Yeah, it's hard to say. And then right below that is Fener-Loogamon. Now, Fener-Loogamon, last week they weren't really using any of the new cards. So BT15 actually gave Fener-Loogamon a couple of new cards to work with. Some new SOC cards. There's like the new level 3 purple-red Loogamon, the purple-red level 4, and then the purple-red Tyrannomon that all kind of work well enough, I suppose, with Fener-Loogamon cards that are already out from BT14. So this week it seems like a lot of decks are just integrating those cards, where last week that wasn't really the case. And then you see this just huge divide between the purple gang and everything else. I do want to make special note though, like the champion level here, Digi-Police, this deck is actually a lot more surprising than I think most people gave it credit for. Even on Twitter right now, the Japanese community is kind of like, hey, is Digi-Police actually good? I think a lot of people saw the Digi-Police deck and the new Oryumon, who can play like Beast Dragon. And right now, the only Beast Dragons in the game are the other X-Antibody Dorugamons. So people thought that you kind of had to use the Dorugamons with Oryumon, which seemed a little bit clunky. But if you actually just use all of the old Digi-Police stuff from BT14, it's a really, really good deck. Oh, that's weird. I didn't click anything. Anyway. Yeah, if you just use all the like old Digi-Police stuff from BT14, this deck is fantastic still. The Commandramon are all really good searches. The high Commandramon just gives you tempo and like momentum to get other Commandramon out so you can stack your deck. And then you can use like some of the old decoy Commandramon as well if you want to go that route. Or you can just go with like a couple of floodgates, things like Chikurimon or Chumon, because right now it feels like most deck building is around the idea of like level 3s, like 8 level 3s are focused on whatever your core of the deck is, and then like the last 3 to 4 are just some sort of floodgates. Just because right now floodgates are really important considering how Apocalypse just gets like stopped outright by a lot of them. So yeah, Digi-Police might be on the come up. It's also really good that the level 3 and level 4 Ryudomon and Ginryumon can freeze Digimon. For example, being able to freeze a Digimon and then it can't unsuspend next turn means that it can't attack, which means if people are trying to get their Eismon Scatter Mode destroyed as soon as possible, they have way less ways to get it destroyed if they can't unrest it. Same thing goes for things like Analog Boy or like really good tamers like Marcus, where if you can freeze the Marcus, and you rest it and they can't unsuspend, then it just can't do anything. You can't get the free Digivolve. So yeah, Digi-Police might have a little bit more sauce than folks thought. It's actually the deck that I was messing with last week before I went to Singapore, and results seemed really good. Really good, actually. Hey, Wario's Gaming Emporium. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Love you guys, too. So then, yeah, once you get past, like, the potential that Digi-Police has, you get, like, all the other decks. And I think it's all the other decks that were just really good in previous... sets, but they just cannot really hold a candle to like the 4 Horsemen of Purple right now. So you see Shine, War Greymon's here. Crossheart is still doing well-ish enough, I suppose. Royal Knights are there. Mirage Galgamon, still a really good deck. This deck, when you guys get access to training cards in the West, this deck is gonna go bonkers. Imagine not just having to like drop your tamers at the bottom of the deck because of blue memory boost. When it's blue training, it's anything. Beelstar, like I said before, Buildstar is still using the Garurumon Ninja on the lower ends just because you can cycle through options so quickly and get the trash set up really fast. And then you also generate a lot of offense off of the level 5 Were Garurumon, who can attack, discard a card, unsuspend, attack again, so you can still just like sink more options into the trash. And surprisingly enough, I don't know exactly why this is, but Gamamon is doing well. I tried to I haven't played Gamamon this set myself, but I'm trying to theory craft in my head why it did so well. I guess because technically a Pokemon can set up your trash for you in a couple of ways. Maybe they can get use out of that. But honestly, outside of giving it to your level 7 with Gamamon, I don't know how this deck does super well. So yeah, I'm not super sure here. I'd like to see some actual videos, but I gotta do some research on my own for that. Does D-Brigade include the Digi-Police count? Yes, but that's actually a great question. D-Brigade does include, the Digi-Police here does include D-Brigade, but it seems that most folks are just moving over from raw Digi-Police to Digi-Police plus the when I say Digi-Police, I mean D-Brigade. The just Commandramon cards. So they're going over from just raw Commandramon cards with Brigademon at the top end to using those cards, a couple less Commandramon, but also just adding in the Oriyumon alongside the Brigademon at the top. So we'll take a look actually at a deck list for this later because I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, I think the split was 1 in 5. So only one person was running raw D-Brigade, Digi-Police. The other people were all meshing the two. And then yeah, in training level, it's actually a lot of decks that I thought were supposed, or at least on paper, had pretty decent matchups against things like a Pokemon. So Deva, I thought last week actually surprised me. Also, I thought Galamon also did really well because once you get to your upper levels for the Galamon deck, you kind of just start murdering things because your opponent has so many cards in trash. It's surprising to see Jellymon up here. Also Kabuterimon. I think I might do a deck list on Kabuterimon, something just really fun. This isn't one of those decks that you're gonna win a huge tournament with, but it's surprisingly strong considering arrested Digimon just cannot be destroyed by effects. Yeah, Hercules Kabuterimon is really cool actually. And then keep in mind, so this is Leomon, but this is right here is the symbol for Megazoo. There's somebody, I think it's one guy. I need to go back and check last week, but I think it's one guy who's just running around using Omnimon control decks. So using some of the new cards from BT15, the Dark Masters, to get to level 6 really quickly, and then in raising, digivolving into a Chaos Dramon from one of the Mugen Dramon Dark Masters for 1, and then you pull it out of raising. Suddenly, it can digivolve into anything it wants. It's level 7, not just a white card, and so you can go to any Omnimon, and then from there, all the other Omnimons are really cheap cost, right? So that's really interesting. I need to go back and see if it's the same guy, but if it is, we'll take a look at this probably a little bit later. And then also, somehow Numamon is here. I don't know how big this event size was. I actually tried to look up. For most of the events that I look for, I try to get at least more than 4 people. But this Numamon one, they didn't have the number of how many people actually showed up to the event. So I'm a little suspect of this one, just a little bit, yeah, just a little. And in the closeout here, Red Hybrid and Ulforce Digimon again. I thought Red Hybrid would do really well against the Pokemon. Actually, a friend of mine, she's from Thailand. She recently came back to Japan. She almost exclusively runs Red Hybrid. She actually won, I think, a Storage Championship. Basically the Stage 1 regionals with Red Hybrid. So this actually might be her. Guillemon, if you're out there and you're watching, shout outs to you. So yeah, this is the list so far. It's so sad. Every single set, I have such high hopes for Chaos Dramon and Machine Dramon, and they actually get support, but unfortunately, they're destined for the rookie level. It's unfortunate. So yeah, those are the decks. I think it's to nobody's surprise, Apocalypse, Gabumon, Anubismon, and Fener-Loogamon, all just kind of running the show right now. 20 wins. Actually, let me pull up the numbers really quickly. Let me just remove this. And can you guys see this? Yeah, I think these are, you should be able to see these. That's me. Whoops. Let me pop that out. Can you guys see this? Let me zoom in just a smidgen here so you guys have a better picture of what we're looking at. These are the actual numbers that I use to create those graphics. Control Shift Plus, please. Control Shift Plus, please. So yeah. Let's hide that. There we go. So you can see week 2 here. I've got it right now, I think, sorted by week 2's results. So yeah, the Pokemon has 21 wins. Yeah. And then, yeah, I get about 30% higher, 30% lower is Garurumon, Anubismon, Fener-Loogamon, Digi-Police, and then just everything else. Everything else. Yeah, but like, you can see for the total so far, 40-25. Garurumon, Apocalypse, Anubismon, Fener-Loogamon. Hey, Carpack King, what's up, buddy? Do you think they're going for different ban lists for Japan and the West? You know, Wretched Egg, the more I think about that, the more I think it might be the case. We haven't ever seen them hit cards that aren't released yet in English, so it might be a case of, at least memory serves, I don't think that's ever happened. But I honestly think they might do it because Garurumon X Antibodies not even out yet, so if it gets hit in Japan, I can't imagine it doesn't get hit when it comes out to the States, because right now we have mirrored restricted lists, I believe. All right, so those are pretty much the results from last week. I do want to take a look at a couple of decks. The first one is, let me see, where is it? Give me just a second here. Just a second. Didn't JP ban promo cards for a brief amount of time? Oh, not technically no. Promo cards were banned in areas outside of Japan, but that were in the Asia region because they didn't have easy access to them. In a lot of cases, what ended up happening was that it was easy to get like promo cards by ordering them off of like Premium Bandai, which is like a Japanese website, but I don't think that you could do that if you lived outside of Japan, like in Hong Kong or Taiwan or somewhere in Singapore. So for those official events, those cards in those countries were banned, but in Japan they were legal, but outside of Japan they were not. It was kind of like a soft ban, so to speak, but it was an official soft ban. Now where was that? There we go. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So taking a look at a couple of the decks that I mentioned before. Let me see. This is the first one I want to take a look at. I mentioned before that it feels like there might be some sauce with the new Digi-Police stuff, and this is a really good example of a deck. This is not the exact one that I've built, but it's pretty dang close. You can see they just use some of the old Commandramon stuff, like I said before, with the newer Oryu and Dragon focused cards for Digi-Police. So the Decoy Commandramon, not a bad idea considering you do have some D-Brigade cards. And even though it doesn't protect all the Digimon in this deck, again, only protects D-Brigade, not Digi-Police, it's still pretty useful once you get to something like a Brigade Dramon. So there's that. And then a lot of the new cards in like the Ryudomon, who basically becomes unkillable for a turn when he gets pulled out of Raising, and you can slip the Zhuyulin up under him. And she's also a 3-memory tamer, so you get a 3-memory tamer down for free, and he gets like indestructible essentially. And then you go into the new Ginryumon, and then the Shadowverse, and as soon as you rest something else with an effect, Shadowverse just evolves. And I realized, I thought it was only on my turn this effect happens, but actually it's on both turns. So if an opponent attacks and you block with the Shadowverse, who has blocker, he evolves for free into Oriyumon. So yeah, that's pretty nasty actually. I didn't realize that, but again, like you could block with anything in this deck. Once you get to a Brigade Dramon, you've also got a Shadowverse out and like one of your Commandramon blocks, then again he just Digivolves. Really, really cool. Additionally, I actually had to reread the tamers for this deck because I thought that you could only mind link one Digimon to a tamer, but that's not the case. The Zhuyulin tamer gives you Alliance and Reboot, and the Satsuki tamer gives you Jamming and Reboot. So what you can do is, once you get to like one of your higher Digimon in the deck, you can mind link both of them to one level 6, and you have Alliance with Jamming and Reboot, which is insane. Like, you're just swinging for a ton, you keep blocker for the following turn, because you can Reboot, and you don't have to worry about what you like run into in security for the most part. I'm a little surprised that this deck is running the black memory boosts. I guess it's okay, because sometimes you are going to play out some stuff for maybe like a 4 cost. So maybe you want to get the memory back that way. And maybe you're like, you want to be able to use black memory boost to just like play down a raw Anubismon and then slide a Satsuki Tamer up under him to get rush and then just finish the game that way. But yeah, my deck, I'm actually running like a split between this and training cards. But yeah, I guess memory boosts aren't that bad for this one. And then, yeah, top end, of course, like there's green and there's a green level 6 here, so. Wait, does it say no tamers in source? Hold on. Really, really, really? Because I thought I looked at these. 1 second. I'm actually, I don't want to lie to anybody. Did I read wrong? Hold on. Yeah, thank you for checking me. Whoa. Deck builder, black tamers. Main, one of your ex-police or excuse me, not ex-police, but Digi-Police or ex-antibody cards. You can mind link. Oh, it's in the mind links effect. My bad. I see. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I completely lied to you there. The mind link effect itself prevents you from doing it for both. Okay, JK. My bad. So yeah, I thought I was looking in the effects here, but I actually look in mind link. I was like, all right, mind link just lets me put it up under there. My bad. Yeah, thank you for checking me. Woo. I've got to go back and do some research then. The other thing that's really good about this deck, though, let me if I can like shuffle back here, is that the DCD bombs help out in case you're fighting against something like Apocalypse, because you can shuffle cards back into the on top of the deck. Unfortunately, I think they don't show it here, but I'm almost certain that the level 2, the Digi Egg for this, is the one from BT15, who does not have, who only like gives you like what is it, draw 1 whenever you unsuspend on an opponent's turn, which is good for reboot. So again, like both the tamers here are going to come in handy for that, but you have to run that because Ryudomon only evolves from 0 from that guy. And where I think it would be nice to have the Missimon from BT14 because he lets you also do the similar things with DCD Bomb by putting cards back into the deck. Unfortunately, you're kind of stuck here, so yeah, don't want to pay for your level 3 Digivolves. But yeah, again, I thought this was going to be really clunky adding in High Commandramon, but it's actually not the case. So yeah, he actually, with just 8 other Commandramon plus himself, he's actually not a bad, it's not too crazy that you won't hit something. But also keep in mind you can just pull some other stuff as well. All right, so that's pretty much it. What's also nice is like the flexibility. You can go with like a really big powerhouse Digimon with Orduyumon, or just go really wide with Brigadramon. So it's nice that Digi-Police has a little bit of flexibility in that respect. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot better than I think most folks gave it credit for. But yeah, just before I left for Singapore last week, I started messing around with it. I was like, oh, this might be interesting. So I think, depending on what that ban list looks like tomorrow, I might be running this for a little bit. Whoop. Yeah, so the way Alliance works is if you can use it, you can order the effects whenever you want. So if you attack, you can play something and then Alliance with that card you played. That's exactly how Orduyumon is meant to work. Are there any Raidmon lists that topped? Not this week. I think last week it happened, but not this week. Let's see. So yeah, the next deck I want to talk about is Fener-Loogamon. So I talked about before how they had just kind of slotted in the new BT15 cards that are blue, or excuse me, purple and red. Where before you saw things like a lot of Fangmons. They've kind of like moved over to like Loogamons. They've also taken out a couple of the other like option cards and just like slotted in Loogamon, and then like a mix of like Fangmon and Black Gatomon or Black Tailmon. I think most folks run Black Tailmon at 2, but 3's not bad. It also gives you like 3 things to attack immediately if you can get all of them in the trash by the time you get to your Fener-Loogamon. But yeah, this deck honestly hasn't changed too much. So Loogamon's here for cycle. In the case now, you don't have to like run something really clunky like a Foscomon on the bottom end. Loogamons do the cycling well enough. They also can take advantage of the tamers if you have them out on the board. Like, for example, if you just had to play one of the AG tamers out to end a turn and like kind of choke your opponent, you can actually get use out of him with the Loogamon here. So you actually have a reason to actually play him before you get to your kill turn. Honestly, that's really it. Like, the deck doesn't really need much else. I think some people, myself included, were running things like Mist Memory Boost to get cards into the trash and draw. Considering you can pull cards from trash with things like the Fangmon and, what was it? Hell Loogamon also pulls back Loogamons, so I think also Loogamon does as well. But yeah, nowadays it's just mostly trainings, memory boosts, and then of course Analog Boy. And I think, personally, I think Chimeramon at 3 is a little high for this deck, but I guess if you have the space, why not? Why not include? Make sure that you can always have one in hand. In a lot of cases, whenever you just can't kill with one Fener-Loogamon, if you have a Chimeramon in hand, you can just kill with him, and then if he doesn't kill, you can just go into another Fener-Loogamon. So keep in mind, he probably won't have the AG up underneath him to get, so the Fener-Loogamon will be a little bit weaker, but still, I mean, damage and attackers is damage and attackers. Yeah. But yeah, Fener-Loogamon honestly hasn't changed. They just got more pieces, and they don't have to include clunky cards like the Foscomon or Drachmon at level 3. They have their own support. I've even seen some of the decks run a couple copies of the purple-red Tyrannomon. Let me see if I can find him. Not that one. Let's see. The BT15 also released the purple-red Tyrannomon. Yeah, here he is. So he's a blocker, which is nice. Also, Reveal 4, which is really good. Like, Search 4 is fantastic for, like, searchability. Grab SOC, which is anything in the deck, and then one Tamer with the SOC trait, which is just AG, of course. I guess you could grab Marvin, but no one uses Marvin in this deck. As much as I love Marvin, he hasn't found a home. And then rest go to the bottom, but you get, like, basically 2 cards in hand. And then you can trash a card in your hand, so... yeah, just all the cycle. All the cycle. Yeah, so also folks are wanting the actual new Loogamon Digivolves for 1. I like to see this when cards that are really strong and have really strong archetypes get locked into their archetype, so that if you try to like go outside of it and get even wilder, you suffer a penalty. I like that. But he comes from 0 if it's an SOC level 2. And then of course, on attack, trash card in hand, delete an opponent's Digimon. This is nice for floodgates. This is really good for floodgates. And then, because actually Loogamon doesn't typically have a memory 3 tamer, so they actually gain all their memory off of their Digimon, and Gajimon is a real big problem for them if he's on the board. So yeah, there's that, and then yeah, he also draws a card as well. Do I check out decks from the Philippines? If you post up your deck lists in, or like not deck lists, but like the winning results in Japanese, I typically catch them. Or if like the hashtags from Japanese, that also catches them as well. So if they're doing that, then probably. So yeah, Fener-Loogamon, not that changed, but just a little bit more refined at this point for BT15, which is why he has Horseman status. Do we have an actual announcement time for the ban list? Nope. But I would imagine it's going to be at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Japan time. It's 5 or 6 p.m. I think in the past they've always done it in like the evening. So if you remember, right now they're doing like the release for these like new reprints that are happening, and there's like a schedule of like 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. So cards typically get revealed once at 12, once at 6, and in the past I think all of their ban and restricted list announcements have come at that 6 p.m. time slot. So I'm expecting sometime tomorrow evening. I don't know what that translates to your time, but whatever Japan time 6 p.m. is. And then the last deck I want to take a look at is Anubismon, and I don't know what it is about Anubismon, people, but they just post up the most cursed deck list pictures on the planet. Like this, the quality here is absolute dog shit. But I painstakingly went about and recreated the deck list so you can actually see what the cards are rather than this grainy, low-res, awful picture here. But this is the actual deck list for Anubismon. And yeah, again, all those in previous weeks, people were running cards like Miss Memory Boost just to like really cycle through cards quickly, but that card's been cut almost in every purple deck I've seen, whether it be Loogamon or in this case Anubismon. But yeah, trainings and Memory Boost, that's all we need. Now let me zoom in a little bit here. Let me see if I can. Oh, try again. Am I tripping? Whoa, that's weird. Why does it do that? I guess that's a little bit better. But yeah, so like I said before, the bottom end for decks right now is typically like a split of 8 and 4, where your level 3s, the 8 cards you have here are, or in this case 9, but you typically have like typically 8 cards here that are your core cards, and then like 4 cards that are floodgates, just because floodgates are so important right now. Hey, Curly boyo, doing pretty good myself. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, like 4 floodgates, because Apocalypse is the worst, and this one kind of counters Anubismon as well as Fener-Loogamon. Purple can actually, you can kind of like mess with purple with a Gajimon, because they typically gain a lot of memory with Digimon now instead of Tamers. With the exception of that Matte Tamer, that one Matte Tamer that's real good. Level 4s, yeah, pretty straightforward. 2 male Birdramon. This male Birdramon is cracked. Or excuse me, not male Birdramon, Saberdramon. Male Birdramon is the blue flare guy. But Raid plus Retaliation is so disgusting. This I played against this with Wargreymon, and it's okay to like survive. I can survive one of these things, but surviving 2 is actually pretty tough. Because they can just like run into your biggest Digimon. They don't care, because even if they die, you die along with them. And they can get past, because Mervamon drops multiple Digimon, they can grab 2 and just basically just run both of them in and kill your Wargreymon outright. And it's like, it gets through the protection. You have to have like a really good stack in order to like survive both of them. And then yeah, things like the Ogremon here, just for memory. Again, most of your level 4s and your level 3s, the core cards anyway, are going to have that special inheritance effect where whenever a card is trashed from your hand, or whenever you play Digimon, by an effect, you're going to gain a memory. This way, once you get down to your Anubismon, and he lets you play a Digimon for -3 cost, and you discard 3 cards, and you can get -3 more cost, so that's what -6 cost, plus all the inheritance effects of like +1, +1, +1 for 3, 4, and 5, and you get the Mervamon down with Anubismon's effect. You choose her, you can put the Ignitemon up underneath her, and he also gives the effect of +1 memory. So she essentially becomes free, if not +1 in a lot of cases. You actually gain memory when you go into your Anubismon, which is wild. By that time, if your opponent is done, if Anubismon has done any amount of chip damage to you, Anubismon plus Mervamon typically just ends the game. And then, you know, just in case, you got your 1 Chimeramon here, just in case both of your level 4s survive, you can just Digicross or DNA Digivolve them into level 5 and get 1 more attack. That's actually 5 swings. So if your 4s somehow survive, your Saberdramons here, then you have the ability to just get the last hit for the game. The top end here, I think, is mostly just to counter the mirror. Things like Shine Greymon Ruin Mode, who just blanket -5k like 2 times. Again, when Digivolving and when you delete him at the end of an attack. So that'll just wipe, or nearly wipe out an Anubismon, but it will wipe out basically level 4s that Mervamon brings out, so they can't like reverse OTK you. And then, of course, if somehow your opponent does go wide with something like Digi-Police, or they have an Anubismon but they weren't able to get past your blockers, and they have a big board, you can just drop a Dexmon on them. I didn't realize a lot of people in the States still really hate Dexmon. They were actually, or Death Exmon. A lot of the comments I got in the video yesterday were like, hey, why didn't you mention anything about banning Death Exmon? Like, is he really a problem? He's more like the one-off tech cards. Like, even if you limit him to 1, it doesn't really do much, because people are only really running 1 copy of this card in their deck anyway. You would have to ban him outright. And honestly, I feel like he's a really good check for decks that go super wide. He's a good punish card. So yeah, there's that. Still don't like Dexmon. I mean, yeah, it sucks to get hit with a Dexmon, especially when you feel like you're in a really good like position and like your board is like super wide. You're like, all right, I spent my resources and memory efficiently. I drop like 5, 6 Digimon, or like 3 or 4 Digimon. I've got like 2 Tamers on the board as well. And then Death Exmon comes down, and you're like, well, next game. Into the scoop phase. Yeah. There's a version of this deck that runs Dobermon, like a Dobermon line. There's also another one that runs like a Bakemon line. I think it's Bakemon, the ghost that gives you plus 2,000 DP to all your retaliation Digimon, which basically gives you like 2 8,000s, and 2 12,000s, so not bad. But yeah, I think most are just running like the Dobermon X antibody from BT15, who can just give something retaliation. So if it doesn't have retaliation, you can give retaliation for a turn, and it also, because of Mervamon's effect, that Digimon with retaliation gains rush and blocker, which is nice. So if you don't have like the Saber Dramons in the trash, you can typically use like 2 Dobermon who essentially can give themselves or the other Dobermon retaliation, so they get the effects of the Mervamon here. But yeah, I don't really know. Hey, yeah, purple is really strong right now. Kitsune is actually one of the folks I play with in Tokyo. Hey, Kitsune. But yeah, I don't know how, even if you take into account all the things that I asked for in the restricted video yesterday, I think Anubismon still ends up being one of the strongest decks, if not the strongest deck in the game. It's hard to like hurt this deck, it feels like. Yeah, so I don't know. We might not even see this deck get touched tomorrow. I'll be really sad if this deck doesn't get touched, because if they hit Garurumon and Pokemon, this deck goes unchecked. This is the new best deck in the game. So yeah, that's pretty much these here. Purple really is like running the show right now. It's kind of unfortunate. It'd be nice if there was like a few other colors up there, but yeah, we just gotta bow down to our overlords for at least one more day. What would they touch in Anubismon though? I don't even know, honestly. Outside of Anubismon himself, I guess some people mention Mervamon, but I feel like once you draw the 1 copy of Mervamon, it doesn't matter, because you can just like bring it back from the trash over and over again. Yeah, it's a very resilient deck. So that's pretty much this week's meta report. I guess if you guys have no questions there, I'll be happy to take pretty much any other questions. Like, we'll do the Q&A now. Are Royal Knights still being played in Japan? Shadow of Miracles, my man, right there. Royal Knights, 2 wins last week. Yeah. Actually, I think one of the people who won with Royal Knights is he ran a full alt art deck, full parallel deck. Insane. Imagine taking that out in public. It can't be me. Full ban on Merva. Oof. That's hatred right there. What is a healthy meta if you nerf all the purple decks? I think that the changes that I mentioned in my video, I think they don't eviscerate the purple decks. Maybe with the exception of Apocalypse. Maybe. But I do think that they slow the purple decks down so that other decks can play at the same pace. That's what I was most trying to accomplish, is that I want decks to be able to play at a similar pace. Even if some decks are a little bit faster than others, that's fine. But right now, Garurumon will kill you in 2 turns. Apocalypse will set up in 2 turns. And if you're playing like Greymon or Yellow Vaccine, which get really good memory value, you're still getting outpaced. So my hope was that I could somehow slow those decks down so that other decks can play at the same pace, or they play at the same pace as other decks in the game. That was my strategy. That's what I would consider healthy, so that like decks actually have a chance to play at the same pace, or similar paces anyway. Do you think Apocalypse is broken by itself, or the generic purple package of Garuru is making Apocalypse exceed expectations? Yeah, I think I had a really good conversation with my friend Javi, and he convinced me that Garurumon is really good, just generically, for pretty much any purple deck, but Garurumon isn't the best engine for Apocalypse. It's mostly the Icemon Scatter Mode plus the purple Gabumon that lets you discard 2 on Inheritance on deletion. That Icemon Scatter Mode plus the Gabumon plus the Pucci Meramon or Demi Meramon as 1 stack cycles through like eight cards. That's so powerful. What's your thoughts of Ryuta support for X antibody? Actually, Sinan, that was the first build that I made of the Digi-Police deck, like the one that uses Ryutamon, and I thought it was a little bit weird. It was a little clunky. You get bodies on board, they have blocker, but outside of that, they're not super useful. I think that the current Digi-Police cards and the ones from BT14, while they're not the exact Beast Dragon cards, they have a bit more use. For example, the Commandramon let you search 5 cards, grab one, and you can stack the rest at the top or the bottom of the deck. I think that's a really strong effect. The High Commandramon lets you attack and bring out other Digimon. Additionally, those 2 cards in Inheritance can save one of your Digimon on board, right? By deleting another Digi-Police Digimon with one of those cards in Inheritance, that card that will be deleted isn't, so they can stick around a little bit longer. Does Obama still play this game? Currently, he's in the process of getting his deck. He came back from Greece. I spoke to him last week, and he was like, I told him that I have a bunch of storage cards that he can just have any of them that he wants before I like trade them in or just give them into a card shop. So there's that. I think he's been looking at some of the videos trying to catch up about like what the pace of the game is right now. So he's getting there. Yeah. He's also really busy, so he does a lot of things for fighting games, so I know his time is pretty limited. He's also trying to build and play Pokemon at the same time. So I do have a Pokemon deck, and we want to like do stuff with Pokemon as well. Let's see here. Do you think the O2 movie promo cards will bring Vmon into the meta? Actually, somebody, they were talking on Twitter today, Japanese Digimon players, about like how they can use the new Imperial Dramon Ace card that's been given out as a prize card. To like actually use in Imperial Dramon decks. I'm sure that there's enough free support that will at least buff the deck up to some degree. I haven't taken a hard look at some of those promo cards. Maybe we should do a video on that actually, just so I can learn myself. But it would be nice if they could. I'm really interested in the Yugioh, the new level 3 that is white and can digivolve from basically any color, and also gives you like memory whenever something comes from the raising area. I'm interested to see like how that card can be applied. I don't really know in my mind right now like how I would theorycraft to play that card, but I think some folks out there might be cooking. I don't know if you, Arcade Knights in BT14-15, I think it got weaker in comparison. Yeah, Royal Knights is a deck where it does really well against one type of deck, but it needs time to set up, right? You need time to get your pieces up under Yggdrasil or Kingdrasil, I think his name is. It in English? It's Kingdrasil, right? So decks like the 4 you see here, Gabumon, Anubismon, they'll just kill you before you can set up, and that's really the one thing that's stopping Royal Knights. It's just that they're getting outpaced. I should probably change that scene, Let's see here. Hopefully I answer your question there. Also, yeah, keep in mind, like for representation, Japanese players tend to play newer decks. It's just how it is, right? You want to like learn like what the new cards can do, and then like once tournament time comes around, then you'll see what they really want to play. We've had the full Scattermo combo for over a year, even after Icemon goes into 1. Now we have actual cards that make it worthwhile. Oh, yeah. I agree, Carfight King. Yeah, Pokemon too. I built, after Pokemon World, I was really inspired. Watching Tord get 2nd place. If you guys don't know who Tord is, Tord Rekalev is one of the best Pokemon players for the card game out there. He's won a regional at every regional on the planet. I think it's like 3 kinds of regionals. I think someone fact checked me, but from what I was told, it's like 3 different kinds of regionals, and he's won each of them. The only thing he's missing is the world title. It's like he needs that to get like the full gambit. And to watch him get 2nd place was so heartbreaking because you could see how bad he wanted it when he played. You can say the best. All right, yeah, all right. But yeah, like after Pokemon Worlds, I think the following week, I did some research and I actually went and built his deck from World, and I built a deck of my own, which was really bad. It was like a steel-based deck that uses, what was it? The new King Gambit, who can just knock out a Pokemon if they have 4 damage counters on them. But it was a little bit too slow. I tested against different fights, a couple of different fights decks, and I just got like outpaced at every turn. I like did really well one game, and then the rest of the games he just like beat my ass. Shout out to Different Fight. Let's see. What does Pulsemon need for BT16 to be good? I have no idea, man. Pulsemon, I think the older cards for Pulsemon are like, they're too specific. Like, you have to have 3 memory, and I think that right now they have taken that archetype of like having 3, not memory, 3 I'm still in Pokemon, 3 security cards, and like just basically just gave it to Tailmon or Gatomon. So I don't know what they're going to make the new Pulsemon stuff do. I feel like it's going to be like a completely new archetype. I don't even know if it would like work well with the older Pulsemon stuff, but yeah, we'll see. What's more troublesome in the current JP meta, controller or OTK? OTK by far. OTK. Yeah, Dex Garurumon will kill you on turn 2. Like, I play Digimon, like they go first. They hatch, they Digivolve, they play I don't know, like a Cool Boy or a Mat Tamer or something, and that's their turn, and then it's my turn. I hatch, I Digivolve, maybe play an option or a Tamer, and the next turn I die. Like I don't know what I was supposed to do. Like yeah, so yeah, OTK is yeah. Control is cute. I guess you could call Apocalypse Control, but I don't really know if I would. I think he's just Mill, which is something I would consider different altogether. Did I miss your question to my... Oh yeah, you did send me something on Twitter. I saw that before I went live. Give me a second. Let me take a look. It was actually a really good question too. Hold on, Carfight King. I saw it. Can you talk about the duality between good generic support for a color, Garou X for example, and how it helps older decks like Beelstar have a chance to exist in the meta? But on the flip side, it is a broken engine that other decks, usually newer, become meta-defining issues. If I understand your question, I don't know if I exactly agree with the premise. I think, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, again, everyone's got an asshole, right? So everyone's got an opinion. In my humble opinion, I think that a generic card should be good, but not so good that it becomes the standard. So for example, if you have Ulforce Vigimon, I think that the deck should reasonably use some of the Ulforce Vigimon cards, outside of just like Rina and the level 6. Like the cards should be tailored to that archetype, right? They should be really good for that archetype. And then you can like throw in a couple of generic cards that will be useful. But if the generic cards force out the core cards for the deck, I don't know if I agree with that. Actually, yeah, I don't agree with that kind of building. I think that the generic cards should be good, splashable pretty much anywhere, but shouldn't become the core cards for everywhere. So I don't... It's cool that Garurumon brought Beelzemon back, but Garurumon is virtually the lower engine for pretty much every older deck at this point. Blue or purple. With the exception maybe Blue Flare. Yeah. Oh, chat's moving. Oh god, hold on. So I hope, yeah, I don't exactly agree with the premise, but it's cool that like generic cards can help buff up like some of the older decks. I think Saberdramon is a fantastic idea. Like for example, like the bird decks for red, that's really, really cool generic. It's also really useful for things like Ravemon. I think that's a good generic card, but it doesn't like force everything out because it's that good. Do you have merch? If not, should we expect merch? Dio, I was toying around with this idea in Discord, but hold on. I wanted to find a way to... Give me 1 second. I don't have merch, but I did an experiment earlier this year where I custom made my own sleeves, and I think they came out pretty well. This is a really simple design, and this is actually the messed up version of the design. But I thought about, some people in Discord were like, if I could use those as like Digi-Egg cards, I probably would. So that wasn't a bad idea. The problem is I don't know how to mass produce these. That's the one trick or one problem that I'm coming up with, and that is like being able to mass produce like this design. The original design is instead of it just being black, it was like dark grayish, and then I have my YouTube logo has like the little like Japanese print in the background. It was that, but in a darker version. So this one unfortunately came out all black because I think the colors were too similar that I sent in. But they told me that if I send it in again, and I lighten up the background a little bit, that it should be viewable. So I ordered 100 of them, and they actually came out pretty well. So I use this for my War-Greymon deck. So when people go, out to locals, I use these whenever I play like in local tournaments. But yeah, I have 100 extra ones. Yeah, I just need to figure out a way to get your. I think the site I use is called yourplaymat.com. I just need to get a way to like mass produce them from there. I'm not sure if they do that. I should actually send an email. I know I'm like super behind this chat. Let me scroll down a bit. Hold on. Will you ever stream some games on Twitch, YouTube? I just need the time. This right now in my life, these last 3 months and next month specifically are incredibly busy. Between work, Shadowverse stuff, which is wrapping up this year, I believe in November, and my parents are visiting in November. I have a lot going on. For example, my parents have never been outside of the contiguous United States, and I live in Tokyo, and they don't even have. They're just getting their passports for the first time, and they're like, not really as adventurous as I am. They're not gonna like go out and like try like sushi or like raw food. They don't know how to use chopsticks, and I'm really nervous about this. They're gonna be here for a week, and I am on like pins and needles trying to figure out like how I can make that a good experience for everybody, and then like not freak out. So yeah, there's just a lot going on right now. But like once my time frees up at the end of the year, going into next year, I'd like to if I can. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on Twitch or YouTube. That's the question. Let's see. How do you feel about limiting BT14 Marcus? I know Marcus is strong, but with some of the newer stuff, I don't think that he is backbreaking. And this brings up like this weird. I was taking a walk today, and I had this thought to my mind: like, do you ban a card if it doesn't become a problem in the near future? Or like, do you limit a card if it's not going to become a problem in the near future? And honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't know. Have they tried out the discard engine with Huang Long? Not to my knowledge, Nick. Sorry. I don't think so. Whoa. Chat just like shot up. Hold on. What are your thoughts on side decks for a best of 3 format? Everyone in the States has a negative view on them, but I think it should be talked about. Yeah, Shadow. Actually, this is not the first time that's come up, and I think I'm pretty sure back when Obama and I initially thought about this, and I think that the Digimon card game was actually like Bandai was actually considering that as a format. We tried it out, and it's too good because you can like slot in like basically your floodgates, and then like if your deck does have 2 different modes, in the case of something like, for example, War-Greymon, right? You can play with like the really offensive mode first, and then if your opponent has like a more control-y deck or like a deck that doesn't match up well with your offensive deck, you can just swap over the upper half of the deck, and you'd essentially have a new deck. So for example, you can go from War-Greymon to Black War-Greymon with just like a side deck. And that might be a little too strong, because then it becomes like a problem of who can just win first. So you know, I actually initially liked the idea of a side deck, but in actual testing, I didn't like it. But it was a good conversation. Do you think there is a rotation for Digimon down the line? I don't know. I think this is a really unpopular opinion, but if Digimon did have a rotation, I wouldn't hate that. I know that people get really pissed off because you basically make cards that they buy with money worthless, which basically feels like everything you have is like a ticking time bomb to 0 money or like 0 value. But I don't know. I'm just in a place where I don't mind. I've played games in the past that have rotation. I've found out that Pokemon also has a rotation. I think the Pokemon's rotation is pretty tasteful. 3 years is pretty good. Like, I think if you play with a deck for 3 years, have you really? I think you've gotten your money's worth. Like, how long? Like, yeah, I think that after 3 years, like, you can say that, yeah, I paid for this card, or I bought this card, and I think after 3 years of playing, over 1,000 days of playing, I got my value out of it. But I recognize that might not be a very popular opinion. I also play Shadowverse, which has a rotation. I think that's fantastic. So, again, I have a lot of unpopular opinions, I think. What do you think about Greymon Tribal overall? Yesterday, my locals, some guy go with one memory, one cool boy, and one red Mimro from Agumon to Gaiamon. Holy moly! Yeah, I mean it's the same thing as Marcus. Like, before it was broken, but now it feels human. I've definitely had games where, like, my opponent checks, they check a training card in security. I have the BT14 Agumon that can digivolve for free if you have a Tie Tamer on the board. So between a Tie Tamer, the training they checked, and like the Greymon X antibody that I just somehow like top deck, I go from like my level 3 to my level 6 in a turn. I can still do stuff. So yeah, but honestly, the pace of the game right now, that feels fair. Yeah, and that's probably like a wild thing to hear, but I think that's okay. I think that's okay. There's so many decks right now that you can't beat everything. So a deck might be strong, but like it gets like hard countered by something else. Also, the ace cards do help with defense. I play some nasty control decks with ace cards. I'm like, oh, I get it now. I can't just swing all willy-nilly. Thanks for the support, Giratinus Gaming. I appreciate you, man. Those sleeves are fire. Thank you, folks. Oh man, I didn't realize how far down I was. Holy crap. It would have been, let me see, rotation, I quit. Did you want to turn into rotation? I quit. Damn, that's powerful. You can't, I think you can't start with rotation. I think that's a bad idea, but like if, I don't know, like 5 years down the line, they're like, hey, we're gonna have rotation format now. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, they're like every 3 years, like Pokemon or something like that. I'm cool with that. What do you think about erratas instead of bans or limits? I think for balance, erratas are really cool, and I think this is where digital card games really shine. So erratas in digital card games, it's simply like a patch, and all the cards now have that new text. But if I'm someone who's new to the game, and this is just me, again, personally thinking, if I'm new to the game and I feel like a card has an errata and I can't see that on the card itself, or it's not reprinted in that way, that feels really confusing as someone trying to understand and like wrap their mind around all the things that are happening in the game. So I guess with the caveat that new cards are printed with the erratas text on them, I guess I'm okay with it, but otherwise I think it's really bad for the presentation of the game because I think it just looks sloppy. For the balance, I think it's fantastic, but yeah. Hey, Quirkless Gym, I need one more Tamer Party Magnamon. Oh, dude, you guys getting Magnamons over there in the West, I'm so jealous. In Japan, they only gave away 333 of them, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 333. Was that right? So people, you'd have to go to like locals, and they would give you the like a ticket, and you scratch out the ticket and like put in the code on like the website, and then at the end of that campaign, they did a drawing. So the more events you went to, the more tickets you got. But it was so painful. I think there's one dude who went to like 74 events and didn't get one. That's insane. And then the price for those things are wild, just because they're so limited. So yeah, if you guys get your hands on one of those bad boys outside of Japan, count your luck, yeah, because you're lucky as hell. But yeah, thanks for the $5, Quirkless Jim. I appreciate it, man. Imagine Armor's getting hit. No, bro. Somebody in the comments yesterday was like, you know, they do hit it. They do hit green every single time. It feels like green just catches a straight blittle. I'm like, yeah, I guess Rosawan's got to be the one to die this time. Which green card is just gonna catch a stray? I also didn't realize that a lot of people were really not happy with hidden potential discovered still. Even at 1, people were like, ban it, it's gotta go. Is it really that bad? I feel like, yeah, they get to their they basically get to their Quartzmon for super cheap, but Quartzmon typically isn't like a a checkmate card? I guess it can be if you're like caught out of position, but I never thought that Quartzmon was like, hey, I got here, it's over for you, buddy. I feel like I can always like at least try to do something within like the next 2 turns. If it's like 1 turn away from me dying, then that's on me. I get that, yeah. I get it. But I don't know. I thought Hidden Potential Discover was fine. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But you guys know, me and all my homies hate green, so this is like actually, it's so strange that this is the first set that I actually vibe with green a lot. My 2 favorite decks in this set are the Digi-Police deck and Tintomon. I put in a lot of effort to building Tintomon, and I think like I might make this like a fun deck profile for that deck. Let me see. Armors is a cool deck too. I think they're like a couple cards from being really good. Magnamon Ace, maybe, but wait, what? I did not see that. Why do Japanese love raffles so much? I think it's because for a lot of things, there's just too much demand. So for example, if like the new PlayStation comes out or the new Switch comes out, in order to feel like to make it fair, so that one person doesn't come and buy up all the stock and then like overcharge in the market, like reselling on like secondhand sites or something like that in the secondary market, they just do a raffle or a lottery. So you basically go and sign up and you find out if you got one or not. Also, it's kind of nice, you don't have to like sit there and just wait in line, and then if you don't get one, you just waste all that time. That's kind of nice too. You just like, all right, I got the lottery here, says I won, I can just go and get it. Let me see here. Any other questions? Calling from Darkness is just not a good idea. Being consistent. So swingy, really? Bloomlord to 1. Wow. I see you guys, you and all your friends hate green too. That's what's up. Hydra for free in game memory is pretty powerful too. Hydra's a really annoying card. Luckily, there's things to get around him at this point, but Anubismon got support in BT15, but seen 0 representation. Oh god, I think that I had seen a couple copies of the Garurumon deck running like Garurumon with Beelstar. I think they're also like sprinkling in some of the Myotismons, I think. I could be wrong. I know I saw like the Myotismon Ace card somewhere when I was looking at the results. I need to go back and take a look. Leopardmon is my shit. Yeah, Leopardmon's actually kind of cool. I can't hate Leopardmon because he just looks like an R-Wing. So, like an R-Wing transformed. His design is really cool. And then they really got me last set where the BT14 alt art for Leopardmon, I think it was BT14, yeah, is like, there's just an explosion behind him. Like, it's a Michael Bay film or something like that. Like why? It's like, how can we make this card cooler? Explosion, background, do it. I think of all like the Royal Knights, he's like definitely up there for me. Analog Youth to 1 to nerf purple? Yes. Let me see. How good is Dukemon over there? It's trash here. Ooh, I don't know where here is, but I'm assuming it's somewhere in the west. I mean, we saw in the results, Dukemon didn't do too badly. I thought they would have a good matchup into Apocalypse, just because the BT13 Dukemon, you can just hard play depending on how many cards are in trash. And so if you like load your deck up with those guys, you can typically just get rid of an Apocalypse outside of them like slotting underneath a Craniumon card. I thought that he would be really good. And then the following turn, you could just go into Dukemon Crimson mode and then just like murder your opponent. Keep in mind that Gallantmon, oh yeah, Dukemon, Gallantmon in English, has Rush too, so drop him, slap something, attack, slap something again, and typically nothing survives on their board that way, and the next turn go into Crimson mode. I thought that was like really strong, but it seems like that's just not been the move here for Gallantmon. I want Gallantmon Duke to be forever banned so I can meme one. Dang, that's rough. It was a pretty cool deck. I actually have, I pulled alt arts for the Crimson modes. I've got 2 alt art Crimson modes. Something like Lock Effects, plays options triggering from trash? Don't they already have that? Like effects that, oh, you mean like something that locks out effects that trigger from trash? Yeah, that could be an interesting floodgate. May have theoretical advantage over APOC, but Gallon in general loses to like everything else. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, like you can't beat everything, right? It's unless you're Apocalypse. Or Garurumon. That's what Diaboromon is for. I like Diaboromon. Back in the day, I thought that was such a cool idea. And like the fact that you could like that was back when you could play the level 7 for Diaboromon. What was his name? What was the level 7 for that deck? It looked like a giant worm. Let me see. That was back during a time where you could like hard play a level 7. You're like, yo. Because there were so few level 7s in the game, just being able to hard play one for like 3 costs was insane. Yeah, Armageddonmon. Yeah, Armageddonmon, yeah. I thought that was such a cool idea. I've held on to those cards in hopes that they would be, like, I don't know, given some renewed life. They gave them the Diaboromon Ace, but it feels like that card is used not in Diaboromon. What's healthy in Magic the Gathering is that there is an efficient graveyard hate right now. I think purple decks are just way too efficient at self-mill. That gives them a second hand, basically. Yeah, I think it's just like decks that have to set up in the trash. The more of those kinds of decks that are introduced to the game, the more mill cards just become better overall. And the prime example I give is Eismon Scatter Mode. And I think a lot of people in the comments didn't agree with me. That's fine. I'm happy that people have other opinions. I mean, it is a community overall, after all, right? But I think that a card like that, for 4 costs, you can cycle 3, drop 2, and you can just Digivolve into it for 2 is so strong. Like, I don't think that you can print another level 4 that's as good as that one without making it absolutely crack. But then you have to like somehow lock it into an archetype. Imagine if they hit Gravity Crush, Shining Ray, or Blinding Ray, I think it is. Yeah, I talked about I actually did a video on those 2 cards. It's called like the what was the name of that video? It was a really crafty title too. I was very proud of myself when I came up with the title. Hold on. I was like, I looked at the video title, I was like, oh, I'm cooking right now. Yeah. Where was it? It was a while back. Actually did really well, I think. The Cost of Victory, yeah. Because it's like the idea of like Pot of Greed is something that you get something for nothing, and those cards are similar. So yeah, it's like, what's like the value of having cards like that? Because when you're gonna win, it doesn't matter. Like they become like infinite value. Isn't Shoutmon X7 Supreme Mode really good against Apocalypse? You can use materials from trash and it plays on counter, right? Actually, yeah. I think that's kind of the reason that Crossheart has been sticking around more so than Hunters. If you notice, I think that Hunters is supposed to be like the next evolution of Crossheart, but just the way that other decks like trash cards, Crossheart has seen a way to just like survive for a really long time, even past the point of its prime. I had an interesting idea to training to lock it to evolving into level 4s and below. That'd be interesting, yeah. Because typically you're using your trainings for level 5s anyway. And other decks, maybe with the exception of Vaccine Yellow, which has Messenger of Hope, which you can Digivolve any level. But like, for example, the Red War Greymon deck, the Agumon only goes to a Greymon, so then you're kind of locked out of using the training. You have to hope that you get a Greymon X antibody. The Red-Black one, so you can discard the cost level 5. Maybe that's the move, I don't know. Because right now you typically like go into level 2, or sorry, level 3. Like if you have a training on board, you can typically you pay for the level 4 and then you like reduce the cost to level 5. Because then it's like a total 3 memory, you can get to your level 6 before your turn ends. What about the promo War Greymon against Apocalypse? You mean like the promo War Greymon that can take out 2 sources and reswing? It's cool, but that card has 11,000 attack, and all the Dark Masters have, I believe, 11,000 attack as well. So if you touch a Dark Master, you just die. I mean, you could like slot in cards that let him gain attack, but once you start Digibursting, you lose that protection. So with every Digiburst, you get closer and closer to dying. I think if you just check, for the most part, if you just check an Apocalypse, you just die outright. That's like the, I guess the one drawback to that deck is that they lose protection as they get closer to winning. Or they get more fragile. Any chance there are updated Crossheart lists floating around that you've seen? Yeah, hold on a second. I think I saw like a wild one that was like super wide, and I think that's because they were like trying to snipe against Apocalypse. I think they actually did it. They succeeded. Let me see. If they hit Eismon Scatter, wouldn't people just move on to Dobermon EX from EX2? Yeah, I saw people talking about that in the comments to my video as well. Yes, but I feel like Dobermon being a 5 cost to evolve, and I believe he cycles all to trash anyway, means that you could potentially like mill one of your Apocalypse, and that's what's important. If there's a risk of, I'm okay with that. Like if there's a high reward, high risk, I'm cool with that. Because again, low rolls and high rolls are gonna happen. Let me see, where's that crosshair list at? November, October 6th. November 12th. Just ban Ruin Mode. I'm not a fan of banning Ruin Mode, but I get why people would want to. It's getting hit by Ruin Mode sucks. You just feel bad. How did this happen to me? Yeah, here it is. I wish I could like actually put it up on the site, but whatever. Yeah, this is one of the crossfire decks that won. So this is pretty insane, and you can tell that like they're waiting for Apocalypse to do their job for them. And yeah, you see this 3 level 7 superior mode, or yeah, X7 superior modes here. So they're like, all right, Apocalypse, make my day. Why? What was the name of the build that uses Black Horsemen promo and its OTK? Oh god. Oh god, I can't remember the name. I said it in the video. You have to go check the video. I can't remember the name. It was named after one of the players though. Was it Supe? No, it wasn't that. It was somebody else. I don't remember. Why is Alpha very played in the West and not in Japan? Raphael, there's actually a guy. This is maybe this is anecdotal, like just my experience, but there's a guy in Tokyo who extensively runs only Alphamon, and he's run Alphamon since its release, and he just updates the deck a little bit with like the new Alphamon cards that come out. For example, back in BT13, Alphamon got the new card, and that guy's really good. He's really effing good. It was around the time I think BT14 had just released, and I was playing Digi-Police or D-Brigade, and I had a wide board. I felt like in control, and he killed me. Like I had set up in like 3 turns, and he still won. I was like, how? I had such like a really good advantage, and he still just won. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Cool Boy is not banned or restricted, so I ain't mad at him. Like, yeah, I mean, when you lose to somebody who's like used that deck extensively, you can't be mad. Like they put in the practice and the time, so they likely know their matchup better than you do. This actually one. It's like Loza. Think about it. If Apocalypse is sinking all your cards into the trash, thank you. Rip Black Hybrids. Alphamon isn't played that much in the West. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like in Japan too. I imagine like there's just newer decks, right? People who like Alphamon, they probably play with Alphamon, and they probably moved on to something like Royal Knights or something like that. Oh, whoop. All right. Oh yeah, for folks who are wondering, like, I don't compile all of my sites, or not my sites, but I don't compile all of my results from here. But if you're looking for Japanese deck lists, this is a pretty good place. This and Digimon Meta.io, I think it is. Those are 2 pretty good places. I mean, you can't read Japanese, but translate to English in Google Chrome exists, so you could just do that, and then you kind of get the idea for the most part. Like, you can kind of figure it out. Did I apply for the Tokyo DC one? No, I did not. My next couple months are not kind for my time schedule. I'd like to, but I'm solely a locals player for the next few months. We have an Alphamon player in our own Discord. He will throw Dorumon into every deck he plays. See, I mean, you can't be mad, right? He's on brand. The meta in the US is a pretty diverse format. Yeah, I don't really know what the game in the West looks like. I'm just because I feel like I'm kind of like insulated in my own little bubble over here in Asia. I'll always like read some of the players' like thoughts on Twitter, and I'm like, wow, really? Is that a thing over there? That's how I feel like it. Or stock tweets from the good game Digi-Nogen Nogen High, yeah. Digi-Nogen is a I love that guy. He's really funny. He's like one of the, I think, the great people in the Japanese Digimon community. He's always fun to be around, always positive, loves the game. I mean, loves the game. He will crack like multiple cartons when a game comes out, or when a new set comes out, and he does stuff for the community. I think that it's such a big thing. Like running events for the community is so good. Like, what a fantastic guy. Also, for as nice as he is, he plays the most toxic control decks, and I just, like, I'll get paired up against him in locals. I'm like, oh shit, what am I about to run up into right now? I think the last time we played, I was running. I almost beat him with War Greymon, but he was running this nasty like yellow hybrid, like Ruin mode top end plus Shine Greymon Tamer hybrid nasty stuff. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think that I can't hate Setcom players too much, because I think it's actually hard to be a Setcom player in Digimon. I think it's actually pretty tough. Just because, like, mid-range decks usually just blow your back out, so... yeah, he didn't use... It wasn't just Shine, but, like, he would use the yellow-red Agumon card that let you play... it's like their main effect is to make a Marcus Tamer a Digimon, so it's like a form of him being able to attack with it. So he would use that in combination with hybrids and like a bunch of the yellow tamers, and then things like Messenger of Hope to Digivolve for free. Also like using the Yugioh Greymon to grab tamers from his security. And yeah, it was a really nasty deck. And because I think at that time my Greymon deck was focused on viruses, he also had Anubismon, the secret rare from BT14, and like as soon as my Blackrock Greymon X antibody hit the board, it was gone. So yeah. I was real mad about that. I think now I'm playing the more red variant, so there's that. All the Doom posting made me... Nah. If you want to play a deck, just play it. I mean, people are going to be mad, but... I mean, you can't control what they think. You can't control someone else's feelings, so... Don't even try to. If they complain, I mean, hey, look. They're also welcome to use the deck. Yeah, I've my latest tech in Greymon is actually using this guy right here. I'm just trying it out right now, but well, actually let me pop this up. I'm actually trying out the Skull Greymon card from BT14, because right now there's a lot of like the Gurumon deck especially, and a lot of other decks, like there's sometimes a big card on board that I need to destroy, but I don't have a bigger Digimon than that. And typically in War Greymon, the way that you beat other Digimon is you just get stronger than them and punch them. But in the case of the Skull Greymon, if they only have one Digimon on board, I can hit them with this guy, and I can keep tempo by destroying him and pulling out an Agumon. I can use a search Agumon, so I can like search for another Tamer and a level 4, level 5, or level 6, whatever, with like the 2-color Agumon, and then it also has Rush if I want to run it in. So I run a couple copies of this guy right now. This is like my current test for the deck. Just because if opponent has like a 1 Apocalypse on board, there's my answer immediately. And I don't, if I'm cut out of position, I can't get to level 6 fast enough, like I can at least get to level 5. So that's my hope. And yeah, it's actually working out not so badly. But yeah, I think I've got 3 copies of that in my deck, and then like I think I run 4 copies of the Raid Metal Greymon, and then 2 copies of Red X Antibody with Security Attack +1. Yeah, when will the Double Typhoon leaks be starting? I think after this recent set of limited cards or reprints that we're seeing on Twitter every day. To my knowledge, Double Typhoon comes out in the end of November. So at the end of this month, we should, maybe like within the next week here, we should start seeing some of those cards get revealed for the starter deck. Double Typhoon. I actually got the sleeves queued up for it too. Are they in here? Yeah, they are. I got the... I'm ready. I'm ready. Let me see. Do you think it will come in the structure? Isn't it the structure deck? Maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. What deck do you wish had more support? Tintomon. Those are your wife's sleeves. Hold on, I'll show you. It's like it's like the long running joke that I have, but Agumon has over 40 cards with its name printed, and Tintomon has 3. So I think 4 now, but it's still kind of sad. But yeah, I've been playing this deck a lot, the Tintomon deck in green, and it does decently well, just not into Apocalypse. Like, I use some of the... So remember when they limited the Grandis? They started printing, like, search insect cards after that. So things like this Kunemon here, you can play it, and then immediately you can use its effect to rest itself and then search top 3 for, like, a green card, I think it is. Yeah, 1 green card. Any green card. So... you can use this to search out things like the Kabuterimon cards, the Tentomon cards, in the case of him. And then you can also search out, and this is crazy. I think in English this attack was called Super Shocker, but it's called Puchi Thunder in Japanese. But this is a really good card for Kabuterimon. For 2 costs, you give your Digimon plus 3000 DP, and you rest one of your opponent's level 6 Digimon. That plus 3000 DP is amazing. Because it lasts for not only your turn, but until the end of your opponent's turn. And because the Hercules Kabuterimon for this deck cannot be destroyed by a Digimon's effects when it's rested, or sorry, it can't even be affected by a Digimon effects when it's rested. The only thing you have to worry about is if your opponent can swing over him. And because he's at 12k, the plus 3000 from Super Shocker typically makes him 15k, and almost nothing gets over that. So you can keep this guy on board, and then every turn he rests something on your opponent's side of the board and gains piercing. So my recent tech for the deck to like try to overcome the Apocalypse matchup, which is abysmal, is to put in a couple of these guys here. Because when Apocalypse drops on the board, it can't attack. So if I have a rested level 6 and he plays Apocalypse, I can simply just play this guy. That's the hope anyway. Finding it in my hand is another question, because it's not actually searchable in the deck. Problems. Have you tried Project Drazzle Online or Drasil Online? They just had a big update. No, I'm not a big fan of... I actually made a video about this. I'm not a big fan of online clients. One of the reasons that I started playing Digimon was because I hadn't played a physical card game in like 10 years. And so, like, when I play this game, one of the reasons I played is because I love the community here so much. Like, if you're like trying to like deck test, absolutely, go ham. I'm all for it. And I made a video about it, like I said before, but I think that people changed my mind. I said I initially didn't want an online client for the game, but people brought up the example that Pokemon has, where like you can use the online client. They have a great online client. You can play on that. There's like, I guess, like games, and you can get cards and whatever. But the actual events themselves are physical. I think that's a great idea. I wish that Bandai would like just X-copy that. It doesn't have great offensive capability. It's dirty, but just that. Yeah, Atlas, I agree. I can hit that. I actually included a couple copies of, let me see, where is he at? It's not super efficient on memory, but I actually have some of the Kokuomons that have security attack +1 in the deck, just so I can like be a little bit faster in like closing out games. Because once I get a level 6 on the board, I feel like I should be in a really good position. But I feel for this deck, I'm just like in an okay position. Because I can't kill you the next turn in most cases. Do you think Grandis deserve to be hit? Yeah. I mean, Grandis is kind of doing what Garurumon does, right? With the exception of like doing it in 2 turns, it kind of does the same thing. So, guy here's playing Buster type, or Buster Dive in his green decks. I think feels like has Hades Force. Oh, is that the one where like you give something like plus 4,000 and like it can attack another Digimon or something like that? Which one is better, Green Rosemon or Kabuterimon? Probably Rosemon. The new Rosemon support they printed is insane. Have you guys seen this? It's like, it's wild. Because most of the stuff before green, or before in green, your opponent had to have something on the board already. Rosemon doesn't care. If it comes onto the board, it gets affected immediately, which is really obnoxious. But I guess they kind of needed something to like push green with another archetype. Because Bloom Lord has been the only green deck for a long time, it feels like. Where was it? The Rosemon. Oh, here it is. X Antibody? Yeah. So when you Digivolve, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and one of their tamers. That Digimon tamer cannot suspend on your opponent's next turn, so it's frozen for a turn. I love this. In the past, they were really tricky with the wording where they said that it couldn't unsuspend her in the unsuspend phase, but if they found a way to unsuspend it outside of that, they were Gucci. But now, you can't do it at all. I love that. And then on your opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is played, suspend it. And then when an opponent's Digimon once per turn is moved from the breeding area to the battle area, if you've got the source cards, suspend it. This is so good. You have to be careful if they move out a big Digimon, because remember, turn player gets their effects first, so if they would just destroy the Rosemon, then you're kind of like assed out, but otherwise, like she just cold jam on a lot of your opponent's stuff. Yeah, they just like suspending stuff is actually a little bit better than I thought it would be in current Digimon. Gonna build Rosemon for green. Let me know how it works out. I mean, the X Antibody cards are really good. Also, they printed out the was it 14? They printed that new Togemon card, which is really cool. Where you can rest it and like play tamers for cheap cost. I like the way I don't really vibe with green, but I can say that I like their current, or like the last couple sets, the way they're building green cards, where like you get value out of having Digimon on board, and that's typically what green's always been, like a board-based kind of archetype. Hey, we're just hanging out, looking at plants and stuff. Oh yeah, so on your turn, when you play a green tamer from your hand, you can suspend this thing and reduce this cost by 3. That's so cool. And then Inheritance is just like, hey, cheap. Everything cheap. So I have a question for you guys, and I guess that is, I was thinking about doing something. I wanted to do something for locals around the world, but I don't know, like, if you this is a question to you folks. If you could do something to make your locals better, what would you do? Like, how would you make your locals better? Think about that and let me know. Like, how could you improve your locals? Does that make sense? I hope it does. How would you rank the colors in the game right now? Ooh. Like, purple's the clear number 1, but outside of that, it's kind of hard to say. Make them shower, damn. Damn. This might sound really mean, but I am not against public shaming if you just come in stanking. I'll be like, hey, somebody's walked past me and they smell crazy. Who is it? I'm trying to name names. But yeah, for the colors in the game right now, ooh, let me think about that while you guys come up with your answers to my question. Yikes. It might be purple Massive Divide, red? Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. Purple, blue, Massive Divide, red? Red, green? Red, green, yellow. Purple, blue, Massive Divide, red, green, yellow, black? I think it's that. I think it's that. Let me see. You guys have some answers. Hold on. To be honest, I really like my locals. We need a distributor in Africa. We currently pay too much to get new people into the game, especially with the exchange rate. Yeah. I mean, I know the thing or two about exchange rates right now. I'm getting destroyed by the yen. The yen is worthless right now. If you folks are trying to come to Japan, now is the best time to do so. With like the US dollar, you basically get double your money if you come and spend or transfer it to yen. Like, I had friends who were coming over back earlier this year, like July, and they're like, yeah, I'm basically paying like $30 a night for like a 4-star, 5-star hotel. I think having local events matters for invites is big. I don't know what you mean by that. Can you elaborate a little bit more, Brando? We host Jank Nights where we can't play top tier decks, and this has added a ton of creativity and fun to our local tournaments. That's cool. That's cool. So like other formats is what you're saying. Having non-meta deck events diversify the decks being played. Okay, similar idea. I like the non-meta idea, but how do y'all dictate that? Yeah, that's hard. Like, enforcement, I think, is tough there, because someone's always gonna be like, let me like really like skate the line. A deck like that's really good, but not the best deck in the game, you know. I'm a TO at my place right now. I really want Digimon to be more known in the card game community. Anders, my man, the mechanics are so good. I really think other players of card games would enjoy it. Yeah. For the most part, people I talk to and I tell them about like how Digimon works, like that actually sounds like really fun. And in Tokyo, every time I feel like I go to locals, I see like at least one new person. I see a lot of the old heads, but like there's at least one new person. Like there was a guy a couple months back. His name was Nick. He like started playing with like Crossheart. He tried out Loogamon, but I think he went back to Crossheart. He's been playing. He's kept up with the game for quite a while. I met a guy who he said he was a self-proclaimed beginner, but he was running Apocalypse. So I don't know if I want to believe him. But he was like, yeah, like I'm going to my first like store regionals. What was it, 2 weekends ago? And he got pretty close to winning it too. I was like, yeah. It's unfortunate though that when I played him at my locals during the week, I played Greymon and I won 2 times in a row. And I was like, all right. So like in our second game, I was like, I try to like help him out. Like, hey, like at this point in the game, you should be worried about this card, or you should be careful not to make this play, or if you have this card, it's really useful against War Greymon. And when he posted up results for his storage championships, he actually lost to Greymon. I was like, no, what did we train for? But yeah, I think he just got into the game as well. So it's always good to see new folks popping up. But my idea, yeah, I kind of want the same thing. I want more people to like enjoy the game. Let me see. Plane tickets are crazy. Yeah, I get that. Plane tickets to Japan are kind of insane. Once you get in, like, you're Gucci. I'm actually going for Evo Japan. Let's go! Play Digimon, but I play Global, and this is my first TCG. I'm anxious. Just go to a local. Just be like, hey, can I play with my English deck? They're probably not going to say no. Unless it's like an official tournament, they'll probably say no. But like if you're just like playing casuals, people are really nice. There's also, near Obama, there's a place called... what is it? Battle Loco Takadano Baba? Or like we call it Battle Loco Baba. Yeah, Battle Loco Takadano Baba. There's a really big like international group of players who plays there. So if you're worried about like language barrier, just go there. It's in the town called Takadano Baba, so the car shop has the town name in it. People in my local would invest in Digimon decks since Yu-Gi-Oh sells a lot more. Okay. I guess they're doing it for profit then? I don't know. When we did non-meta, it was argued hard if Gallantmon, Commandmon, and Rosemon were non-meta or not. Yeah, the enforcement is, I think, what trips people up. What time are we getting the ban list? Probably 6 p.m. tomorrow, Japan time. So that's about 21 hours from now, 20 hours from now. Yeah, I can't wait to see it either. Collab with Majin Obama win. We used to, it was fun back in the day when he played a lot. We get together on like Friday or Saturday nights at the studio we have in Akihabara, and we just play all night. We streamed it sometimes too. It was a lot of fun. We'd put on the card game banger soundtrack. If you go to my YouTube page, I think that, well, I guess you guys are on YouTube, right? Does it show my playlists? If you go to my playlists, I think I have, oh, maybe it doesn't show. Created playlists? Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh, there's a, yeah, if you go to playlists, created playlist, there's a playlist called Card Game Bangers, and we would just like put this on whenever we played. Hold on, let me. So we would put on stuff like, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. We had Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D stuff on there. Like, I remember this song at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, lots of, some of the old Yu-Gi-Oh! Games had some really good soundtracks, man. Tips for hair growth? Not here, man. Not here. I checked those streams. I knew you from Fighting Tuesday. Yeah. It feels like America, the continent, anything besides MTG or Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't get that many players, except One Piece, which seems to be a hit. Yeah, I actually was talking to my buddy In Guy when I was in Singapore last weekend, and he was like, yeah, One Piece is bigger than Pokemon here. That was a shocker. Yeah, like One Piece is, IP power is so strong, especially now when there's so many options out there. Like having like a recognizable brand is so, like you like get so far ahead of everything else out there. I'm just so surprised that Bandai created One Piece and then they created another card game called Union Arena, which is essentially the Shonen Jump card game. Like, why would you not just include One Piece as a set? It just seems so weird they would release those two games alongside each other, so they compete against each other. Like, if it was like Konami who released one of them and then like Bandai that released the other one, I get it because it's competition, but it's the same company. That seems so weird to me. Oh, this is a good one too. The free duel theme. Yeah, this is a banger. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, maybe I should just play this when I do streams. Yeah, I have the Card Game Bangers soundtrack all queued up. One Piece is taking over locals. Yeah. It hurt Digimon here, really? Wow. I guess, yeah, because they're... If you play Digimon, you look at One Piece and you're like, oh, these are actually pretty similar, because like the colors and like the way the cards are set up are pretty similar, so I get that. Yeah, it feels like Bandai maybe cannibalized some of their stuff, but we'll see. According to Toei and Bandai's financial reports, though, the game is doing crazy in the West, like really good. They were surprised it did so well in the West. Oh man, William, I agree so hard. Like the what was it? Have you guys seen the new prize cards in English? I'm so jealous. You guys get those and we don't. Hold on, let me see if I can find them real fast. The new prize cards you guys got for like, I think regionals or championships or something are insane. Boom, 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 boom. Why did it go back to the... Oh, I'm in the global or the Japanese version. I need to go to global. Yeah, the Digimon alt arts you guys have for championships, those things are incredible. Bum, 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 bum. Double Typhoon, now designing. It wasn't booster packs. Where was it? Was it events? I think it was. Is where they had them. Large scale tournaments. The World Tour, maybe it's under that. Prizes. Nope, they don't show it here. Where the hell was it? I'm gonna find them. Like the artwork. I think it actually might be Western artists too. I could be wrong, but I think it was when I looked. Click here for TCG. No, they don't have it there. Also, I tried so hard to talk to Bandai people to have local events streamed by a friend of mine whose company that I helped do the Digimon Showdown, Digi Showdown stuff for it, and they didn't want it. I was like, damn, really? Boop, 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 boop. I don't see it at all. What the heck? Is it Ultimate Cups? Maybe I should go to the cards and go to go to Alt Arts. I won't be there because it's by the set. I'm ripping peace. Are they the BT14 box topper for ace cards? No, I saw those. Those look pretty good too, but that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're not even here either. I tried. I don't know. The artist was from Brazil? Really? What's the most interesting mechanic in the One Piece? Like, for Digimon, it's the memory system. I don't actually know how to play One Piece. I'm just not interested in the game at all. A friend of mine, like, kind of described how you can use the Dawn cards for costs, as well as to, like, buff up your followers, or, like, your characters. I don't really know exactly what I'm talking about, but apparently you can like buff them up using those cards if you have like ones left over that you didn't use for the turn, which is kind of cool. But outside of that, I don't really know what the mechanics for the game are. Apparently you have to block from hand, which I don't like, because you lose cards by doing that, and I think characters don't die when they attack. I think that's the case. Someone correct me if I'm hard capping right now. But I think that was how it was explained to me. They're the BT12 Alt Arts for September and October regionals. Let's see. Bum 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 bum. That was December, October. You said October, November? Oh. All they have is like the dates for the event. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Oh, they're not even big. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, these are what I'm talking. These are incredible. I'm so jealous. This Emperor Greymon looks so clean. Shao X7 looks good. Imperial Dramon, the color here is insane. The color work is crazy. The War Greymon, I would fight somebody for. Shy Greymon also looks good. The Siriusmon too. Like, oh my god. Dan Mora is a Costa Rican comic book artist. Is he the one who did him? I can't read the name, so it looks like it's different names though. Like the links are different. I can see that much. Oh, Dan Mora did the Greymon. Damn. So one called Dan. Let me get one, man. I know he's got a couple of extra ones laying around. Don't mind playing with Shine with this alt art? Yeah. What happened to the Phoenixmon deck in JP? Really thought it'd be super good. Yeah, it I think that the support for with some of the older Phoenixmon cards was a little clunky, and so it doesn't gel well enough. I think somebody last week actually got a pretty good result with it. Let me see if I can find it. I think people were actually asking about it in the comments. I feel really bad. I see people in the comments for my videos like asking like, hey, does anybody have this deck list for one of the decks he talked about? And usually I go and I post them up, but I just haven't had time recently. Let me see if I can find it though while you guys have me here. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Machine Dramon, I think that most folks are building Machine Dramon in the way that they would in the old days, and I think that Machine Dramon build might have changed. Cause I'm trying to like jam in as many like really good level 5s that have security attack +1, but it still feels clunky. I might just like, I don't know, either run the old Machine Dramon, like the EX1 one, and cut the Machine Dramon you would evolve into, and just hope to get like the hard played out Machine Dramon, because you can reduce its cost with Supreme Connection. Or I might run like how I did. I made a deck profile for Chaos Dramon a while back, and I simplified all the level 5s like to a really high degree. I basically wanted like Reboot, Blocker, and what was it? Reboot, Blocker, and there was one other effect. Maybe those were the two: Reboot and Blocker, and then something else. So like the Mega Dramon that like hits something for 3 costs. Redirect. No, because that's the Analog Boy. Well, not Analog Boy, but Blocker. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I said it. Reboot, Blocker, and just just another effect. I'm tripping. And I actually like that deck a lot. It was very simple. It didn't really mess with Machine Dramon too much. I had like 1 or 2 copies in there, but that's for a rainy day. The main idea was to go into the Chaos Dramon, and that deck actually worked out pretty well. This is before Analog Man had come out, so yeah, the new Hagurumon is useful. The Air Dramon, I think that's what it is. The level 4 that lets you put Marcus in his sources. It seems kind of awkward to use that card, but because it's 5 costs, and if you have to hard play it, it does get the effect on hard play. It feels so bad, and you can't reduce its cost with Supreme Connection. Oh no, you can. I'm tripping because it's SOC. But I don't want to use. I'd rather use it on level 5, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm still trying to build a deck in a way that's not really compatible with the new cards, and so I probably need to go back to the drawing board. What was I looking for? I was looking for that Fener-Loogamon deck. You guys distracted me. Hold on. Before I was so rudely interrupted. Birds. The event at 1 hour was also kind of small. Let me see here. Also, leave it to card shops to have dog shit picture quality. Thank you. Please take a decent picture of the winning deck. I would really appreciate that. Like, I don't even know what this card is here. I can't see. Let me see if I can zoom in. Nope. I forgot. Twitter, X, whatever prevents that. Yeah, it has some of the old stuff in there, but it doesn't gel perfectly with some of the newer stuff. Well, it has the older stuff, yeah. I hate when this happens. Like, why show me anything at all, you know? Is this Garudamon? I think it's Garudamon. They don't even run the... Oh, they do run the Garudamon Ace here, so 2 copies of Garuda Ace. 3 and 3 split of the level 6s, which kind of makes sense. Is this the Blocker BO1? No, it's not. It's not. I'm tripping. I don't actually know some of these alt arts. That's the Sora Tamer. That's the Tamer that gives them to rush. That's Marcus's sister, or Masato's sister. The Saber Dramon, which is a generically good card for this deck. You play the Bird Dramons. This is the new one, and this is the old one that lets you play a Tamer down for free. So you play the Sora Tamer. You can get you can use that to like basically play another big Digimon. Every Asian winner deck is like that. Yeah. Imagine going through like 95 of those. And like, what are all the cards here? Like, which one should I like highlight for a deck profile or like talk about? Say Levy. It's Marcus's sister, yeah. I don't know her name, bro. People assume that like I know the lore for Digimon. I just don't. I just like the card game. I watched like seasons 1 through 3, I think, as a kid, and I barely remember those. And yeah, like people are always like, "Remember these?" I'm like, "No." but the art looks cool. So it's kind of cool because everything is still like new and fresh to me. So whenever like a new set comes out, I'm like, oh, what are these kinds of cards? Like the Dark Masters. People told me what those were. I'm like, what are those? And so this set is like, oh, I hate the Dark Masters. Pokemon's the worst. After Marcus, I didn't even know about Marcus. I just thought, like, someone told me that there was a... Before Marcus came out, people told me that there was a tamer who actually, like, punched Digimon. And I was like, that's kind of based. All right. Here we have Machine-Dramon, who is, like, the size of 19 people. And he's like, you know, I think I'll just punch that. I would have played the Digimon TCG even if it wasn't Digimon themed. Then good news. I think that before Digimon, there was the Naruto Boruto game that used the Chrono Clash system, and I think there was an Evangelion game that used the Chrono Clash system as well. I could be tripping on that one, but I think that's the case. I got this like harebrained scheme earlier today. I was like, how easy would it be to actually like contact Ryan Miller, the guy who made the system, and actually interview him? I think that'd have been an interesting video, but it's actually harder to get in touch with him than I thought. So, like the website that the website that talks about the Chrono Clash system, I think is owned by Bandai. Because when you go to the About section here, and they talk about like the actual system itself, and you go to the Inquiries page here, it's Cardass. So yeah, I think it might, yeah, property of Bandai Nam or Bandai Namco. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can like I can find his LinkedIn or something. I don't know. If any of you guys know how to like contact him, hit me up in Discord. I think it'd be really fun because I would love to prick his brain because I know he's not gonna say anything bad, but like I'd love to just get his thoughts about like how he intended the system to be done. What's the Gallus that gotta win? Great question. Yeah, I thought about doing it so that every week I did the I do like the actual edited videos for the meta reports. I thought about then later that week having a stream where I just took all the people who requested to see decks in the comments and just make a stream out of that. I thought about that. I just need more time. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. Oh, it's only like a couple decks. Why is that? Oh, it's kind of set to red. Oh, he is red deck, right? Yeah. It's Dukemon. Or Gallopmon. Red Imperial, Birds, Mugindramon, Crossheart, Yellow. Why is Yellow Hybrid under Reds? That's so weird. Grace Nova, Gamamon, Shine. Hold on, we gotta... Let's cut that. And then... Search. Deck name. Alright, let's see. Numamon, Ravemon, Daftmon, that's Leopardmon. Did I find it on Twitter? I might have just found it on Twitter. You guys might be asked that, I'm sorry. Oh, Fanimon Fall Down Mode. I don't remember seeing that one. D-Brigade, Fanglong. I think I might have found it on Twitter, folks. I'm sorry. Wow, really? I thought I saw it here. Maybe not. Sorry. That's a much harder search for it. Sorry. Love your content. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm the same with barely knowing any Digimon content. Yeah, the card game is cool. I'm really glad that I just like on a whim decided to get back into card games like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Love your attitude to control players. I don't like how much deck shaming. Yeah, I think the guy who does the professor, the Tolarian College, he has a really good phrase. He says, "I'll never yuck on your yum." So like he'll talk about stuff that he doesn't like personally, but he explicitly says, "Look, if you see me somewhere and you want to play Magic, I'm not gonna say no. Like I like Magic, you like Magic. We share a super simple common interest. Why don't we just both enjoy the game?" I love that. Like, if it's not fun, I won't do it. But if it's fun, then yeah, just do it. Right? Am I sick? No, I just I've been on airplanes and in different climates the past couple days, so my sinuses are kind of messed up right now. I'll go for a run tomorrow morning, and hopefully that'll just clear me out. Updated Luga best doggo list, please. I hereby request. You missed the beginning of the stream. We actually talked about Luga. Check the VODs. Oh, this song's loud AF. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs for Digimon in general. Hopester. Yeah, check like 30 minutes in. I think we got to Loogamon around that time. How was the Apocalypse matchup for Gallantmon? Apparently not that great. The deck, I thought it would do really well. And on paper, it seems like... On paper, it seems like it works out really well because they trash a bunch of cards, and you have access to Gallantmon from BT13, who can just drop, slap a 13k or higher, and then attack, and then slap a 13k or higher. And then the following turn, you can go into Crimson mode, which seems like the perfect answer. But I guess you just have to have it in hand, right? Also, if they Craniumon, you're kind of shit out of luck, so sorry. How was Mastemon in BT14? I thought Mastemon would make a bigger impact with the yellow vaccine stuff, considering Anubismon was one of the cards, but wasn't the case, it seems like. They mill your key pieces too often. I mean, that's like the story of every deck, right? If you can't get your pieces in hand before like turn 2, unfortunately, you're really like rolling the dice, and if you can get your cards, especially if you don't have a way to pull cards back. So like what some people are doing is they're just putting in a couple copies of Rivals Barrage in their deck if they can like afford to. That way they can grab something back from the trash. But I mean, that's only for purple stuff, so. Enjoy the game first means everything. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I've noticed that they've been changing up some of the artists, the more common ones. I think they're just like trying to get like new folks in. I think I heard somewhere that the artists are not full-time. They're like contract, so they could technically let them go at any time, which is kind of unfortunate because I think that the people who they have actually do really good work. But I don't know much about the business dealings of the artists themselves. The artists, I will say though, a lot of them are actually really active on Twitter. Every time like they do a set, or like a line of cards for a new set, they'll like post up, say, hey, like I did these, and I hope you guys really enjoy them. And I heard that maybe this card was really strong, so yeah, please enjoy it. Stuff like that. Isn't Out for Apocalypse explored yet? As much as I am not a fan of Apocalypse, and I think most people aren't, I will say, and I think this is like this is a pretty common feeling among most people who play Apocalypse, is that the mirror is actually an incredibly interesting matchup. It's very fun. The mirror itself is really fun, but once you move outside of the mirror, you look at something else, Apocalypse just eats it alive. Like having to manage your like your milling potential and then stopping your opponents is actually, and there's a lot of cards that you can use like for the mirror, like text you can use, and like ways away around your opponent that actually makes the match very interesting, but it eats everything else alive, so. What is the best version of Oryu being played? Is it X Antiwriter or Digi-Police? I think it's Digi-Police. Although I think I maybe overestimated Oryumon when he first came out, just because I feel like his effect was simpler than I actually imagined, but it's actually a little bit more complicated because of the ordering of the effects. He has to be on the board when something is when something is rested in order for him to get to the effect. So the free Digivolve you get from Shadowverse, you cannot count that resting for Oryumon. So once that rest happens, you get the free Digivolve. You need another rest to happen in order to get Oryumon's effect. And I didn't realize that the first time. I was like, oh, this is actually a little more trickier than I thought. I thought you only needed the level 3 or the level 4, but it seems like you need both of them to get like the full effect. And you need two things to rest on board. Like Psychemon exists, but you either have them or you don't, and that doesn't feel good, to be honest. Like if I only have like a single turn to get Psychemon, I don't get him in the mulligan, or 2 turns, excuse me. That just feels really bad. Like, it feels very coin flippy. If I had a couple more turns to like actually try to get it in hand, that'd be cool, but I typically don't. What would you think if a Pokemon would be errated tomorrow to put only Dark Masters on him at the end of turn? He's useless. I'm pretty sure he gets like murdered. Although maybe not. I could be wrong actually. Digivolve is a really powerful effect. The removal cards they have are really useful, with the exception of I think the Metal Seadramon, just because he bottom decks something. I think it is. Is it Metal Seadramon or Puppetmon? That it's one of those two that actually puts a card back into the deck. And it's like goes against my game plan. What am I doing? Sit here. Would a Pokemon at 1 kill the deck? Yes, because if you kill the Pokemon, then they just lose the game. They have no way out. And if they wanted a way out, then they have to build around like another strategy, and that cuts away from the cards you can actually use for setting up a Pokemon, right? Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not the expert, but that's just from what I played of it and what I played against it. That's just my thoughts. Was it who was it? Was it the Metal Seadramon? Yeah, it was the Puppetmon, I'm sorry. Yeah, Metal Seadramon returns level 5 or lower to hand. Puppetmon returns a suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, right now, decks can kill a Pokemon. It's not a problem to killing a Pokemon. The problem is that, like, they can just spring up another one the next turn with, like, no downside. Like, the trash is already set up. Like, once you get the first one, every subsequent one is just 3 cost. I thought about maybe if there was a case that you could use a Pokemon with like mill out, like purple red mill out decks, but I don't think you have the space for it. Yeah, he's. It's a shame too, because I love the alt art for this card. It gives me like you guys ever seen or played Tatsunoko vs. Capcom? This guy, the artwork here really reminds me of like some of the characters from that game. Like if you guys know who Joe the Condor is, big Joe the Condor vibes here. What if they made a Pokemon able to have copies played during your next turn, like TAC into turn effect? Maybe, but I think they would just lose, because you get a free turn if you kill a Pokemon. And I mean, you can kill a Pokemon. Like Wargreymon swings over him. He typically doesn't have much protection unless they slot in a Craniumon specifically. I don't know. Maybe that is fair enough. Because considering what they can do with Metallic Dramon, and they can prevent you from Digivolving, if they can't play it for the next turn, maybe that still makes them even, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Alright, folks, I think our time together has come to a close. Yeah, I'm still kind of hungry. I have a couple things I need to do. I'm doing this event for Shadowverse, or I'm like doing this experiment where I'm trying to help like create a content creator, and I still need to do work for that because I didn't have time to do it last week. I need to like review like 20 applications. So yeah, I think I'm gonna skedaddle, folks. Hope you guys had fun. I had a lot of fun with this. This is really, really cool. Yeah, thanks for coming by. I know that you guys could have done anything else during this time, but you guys came by and hung out, so I appreciate that. If you're ever in Tokyo, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. Be like, hey, let's go play some locals. Yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna skedaddle, get out of here. This is gonna be really weird because when people are gonna like, hey, where was the second week for the BT15 meta report? Because it's already happened before, and I'm like, it was a live stream. Check the live tab. Should I just like download this and just make it as a video? I don't know. Is it that difficult to find? Yeah, have a great night, folks, or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. I think we got folks from pretty much every continent in here, with the exception of Antarctica. I could be wrong on that, too, yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.